Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for Dawnstar psychic weapon spells in Baldur's Gate 3. This is the latest mod by Dawnstar, now available on mod.io for PC players. Hopefully we'll see it for console down the road. Incredible VFX here. I'm just going to quickly go through some of the images to showcase. There are 2 cantrips and 2 spells per level, so you get a total of 14 spells here. First, starting off with a Psionic Whip, which does a 1d6 of psychic damage, pulling the target 4 meters closer to you. And the Psychic Rush, which does a 1d4 of psychic damage, charging forward behind a shield of psionic energy, dealing psychic damage to creatures you pass through and possibly knocking them off balance. This is an action, a bonus action. You can hit multiple targets with it. And we also have, I would recommend grabbing Mage Hand here, as it's really nice for just throwing healing potions and other support. And we will be playing as a wizard and the blade singing wizard in particular, but the spells we'll be grabbing at level 1, I would recommend Shield. It's just a really useful spell. Psychic Arrow here, which does a 3d8 of psychic damage, and it can reduce the target's movement speed by 6 meters. And it'll also reduce the range of the target's spells to 3 meters until the end of its turn. It's really useful. We also get the Psionic Assault. It does a 1d4 plus our modifier of psychic damage here, and you can attack 3 times. In addition to this, I'd also recommend grabbing Magic Missile for just guaranteed damage. And Long Strider is good if you don't have someone on your team that already has it. Same thing, Find Familiar for the Raven. Otherwise, Thunderwave and even Mage Armor can be nice just for a better armor class in the early game. And the stat spread we'll be looking at is something like, I'd recommend going 16 Dex, 14 Constitution, 16 Intelligence. You can swap Dex and Constitution for 16 Con and 14 Dex if you prefer. And I do want to point out that this class doesn't just apply to the wizard, it's also sorcerers, bards, warlocks, eldritch knights, and clerics. And Dawnstar is also working on, if you check out their Patreon, their elemental spells, so you can expect that hopefully to come soon to mod.io, but you can always subscribe to their Patreon to get early access to those mods. For level 2, we're going to go with the subclass Blade Singing. This is going to give us the option for being close range and doing a bit more melee because we get the Blade Song here, which will give us an increased armor class. It can go up to a +4 and advantage on acrobatics and +2 to Constitution saving throws, eventually a +4. Next leveled spells, I'd recommend Long Strider and Find Familiar. This is just whatever you want to pick, and we'll prepare obviously the psychic spells. At level 3, we get a couple more options. We get Psionic Protection, envelop a creature in a psionic barrier, having physical damage types and psychic damage for a short time. 3 turns concentration. Onslaught, this is really cool. Inform psychic constructs of blades and slam them together. Tearing through the mind, it'll deal 4 psychic damage at the start of each turn and disadvantage on Constitution saving throws. Obviously, really nice to have, and we're going to prepare both of these. They also look incredible. Like, I say that often, but honestly, Dawnstar's work is so cool. Level 4, I'd recommend Minor Illusion. It actually fits thematically here because you can group them together and then blast away with psionic spells. We'll also grab Hold Person and Scorching Ray, or actually probably Misty Step. We got enough damage spells here, and we'll prepare Misty Step just for the extra teleport. First feat, either an increase to your intelligence score or the alert feat, or you could even go with Warcaster if you wanted it, but I think alert just ends up being the best choice. Now, once we get to level 5 here, we get to choose a few more spells. I'd recommend actually grabbing Counterspell here alongside, we'll grab both of these here, but Wall of Swords, which says you create a wall of sword on the ground, or Psionic Weapons, which lets you do 3 summons, which is really cool, and they can do psionic attacks and make targets bleed. Now, we'll prepare those spells because they're cool, and Counterspell is pretty much essential to surviving and protecting your team at this level. Level 6, Extra Attack. Awesome. And we also can take a couple more spells. Haste, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, those are kind of like your classics, and even Glyph of Warding is good, but we have a Glyph of Warding style spell here that we could also apply. Actually, I forgot to, we'll take Lightning Bolt, and I forgot to throw on the Wall of Swords there, and we'll prepare the Wall of Swords. I was waiting till prepared there. But level 7 gives us a really cool one, Mind Reaper. Sweep a massive psionic scythe through an area, cleaving enemies' minds and siphoning a quarter of the damage dealt as hit points. You actually get quite a bit. And the best part about this is if you use the Resonant Stone, which doubles psychic damage, you end up basically doubling the amount of health you'll get back too. We also have Psionic Swordfall here, which does a 3d8. Now, the coolest part about this is you can summon it in. It's kind of like you'd think a concentration spell would work, where you'd have something in the air. Like, you literally have these psionic swords up in the air. However, they don't slam down unless there's an attacker there, and it can potentially stun targets as well. It's really good, and I would say it's probably one of the best spells that we got since then, so we're going to prepare both of those for some sustain, but also that big nuke attack that we have. I'd also recommend throwing on Ice Storm and even Minor Illusion or Minor Elementals or Greater Invisibility, which is an illusion spell. And then for the prepared spells, we'll throw on all the psionic ones. And we'll take an ability score improvement on our intelligence here just so we have better spell casting. Next up, we got level 9, which is going to give us even more spells here with things like the Blade Barrage. Fire sonic swords in a line, damaging the psyche of creatures hit. It can be recast without expending a spell slot as it's a concentration, kind of similar to how you got lightning, Call Lightning. There's also Sonic Blade Field here. Surround yourself with rotating psychic blades. Nearby enemies will take 5 to 40 psychic damage per turn. The move speed's halved. This you can think of like a much cooler version of Spirit Guardians because you have swords flying around your character. It is really nice, and I would recommend preparing both of these because we just took the intelligence modifier increase. Wizard level 10, Song of Defense, great. It gives us some more protection. I also have Dawnstar's arcane spells equipped there. Bone Chill's nice for certain bosses that heal themselves. And we'll take the Conjure Elemental. We have all these psionic spells, and we'll throw in Cone of Cold. And we'll prepare, Misty Step sounds like a great plan. Now, level 11 gives us another couple of spells, the final ones. We get Psionic Psychic Bombardment. So if we have our summons in place, they can apply bleed. We'll deal additional bleed on those targets, 1d6. It'll do 4d6 psychic damage per bomb, or if you have that on them, they'll do 5d6, and you can have 3 projectiles. Very strong attack, alongside the Mind Guard Surge, doing a 48 psychic damage. Send out a barrage of psionic or psychic shields that batter enemies and bolster allies. Enemies in the area may fall prone. Allies caught in the blast will get resistance to all damage types until the end of their next turn. So great defensive, like, spell, and then also it can knock enemies prone, do a good amount of damage. Sonic Bombardment is like your pure damage option. So we'll throw in the shield one. I just think that ends up being a bit more value, and then also prepare the bomb so we can show all these. And we'll grab Odaluke's Freezing Sphere, Chain Lightning, because those are exclusive. Odaluke's is exclusive to the wizard there, and we'll throw on the bomb. And then for the final feat, I'd recommend going with an intelligence increase. You could go to level 20. And if you did, you'd probably want to put on like 2 levels of the fighter for action surge, and then you could even throw in something like the Gloomstalker Ranger for an additional attack, and the Rogue Thief for the extra bonus action. Or you can multi-class in the light domain cleric, because that multi-class will with the wizard. Now the equipment mod is the Acheron's Armor here, light armor mod, Royal Knight Cloak for the cloak that I have on there, and then Mask 1 from Mickey's Accessories on Nexus Mods. Now for gear, there's actually some that fits very well here, like the Brain Drain Gloves, which will apply mental fatigue on the target when you deal psychic damage. But that's not all, folks. We also have the Ring of Mental Inhibition, which will apply mental fatigue on targets when they fail a saving throw against one of our spells or actions. What's great about this is we have spells that do psychic damage that can have a failed saving throw, which can apply multiple stacks of mental fatigue. The best part of mental fatigue, if you don't know what it does, it gives minuses or negative rolls to the target's mental saves, so their wisdom, intelligence, and charisma saving throws, meaning they're more likely to continually keep getting hit with these spells and continually get the debuffs. Since we got debuffs, we may as well take the Boots of Stormy Clamor to apply reverberation on top of those. And this weapon or ring actually kind of fits Strange Conduit Ring, so if we hold a concentration, we get additional psychic damage, and this is a psychic weapons pack, so I'm equipping it even though we may not really do a lot of attacks. I would actually recommend for a weapon, I'm using the staff there just to show off a bit of the spell casting, but we will likely want to go with the Infernal Rapier here, so you can go all in on your intelligence. You can summon in a planar ally Cambion and get a boost to your spell save. I'm going to use Marka Heshker as, actually no, I'll throw on the Infernal Rapiers because it's psionic weapons. And we would, if we're doing this, we may as well not have a shield on. So another good option is actually going with the Duelist Prerogative. And you know what, I may as well just throw it on. 2 counter spells is really nice when we're such a good offensive caster. I also got the Ballast Armor on. Since we got a Spirit Guardians like spell, we can get in close and we can apply debuffs, which also triggers our Boots of Stormy Clamor. But if you have any archers on the team, they get double damage. And the Deathstalker Mantle turns us invisible when we get kills. Great. Haste Helmet, early game item, gives you extra movement speed. A lot to love. And finally, we got the Hellrider Longbow for the +3 to our initiative, so we go first. And here's what the Sonic Blade Field looks like. Now, you actually shouldn't use the Deathstalker Mantle with this because you're not going to be able to turn invisible if you're holding your concentration on this, so you could use it earlier on in the game or swap out your cloak. And I had the spell there that just drops down on a target afterwards, so that's really funny. They end up getting stunned. So that spell right there is the, if you're going with the Sonic Sword Fall, which you can actually cast before combat, it lasts until long rest. You can only have 1 at a time, but it has swords up there, and then it drops down and stuns targets, which is really nice. But we got melee, so we can run in, 52 damage. Just a heads up that if you're using the Resonance Stone, that is going to power up this build quite a bit because it's like Spirit Guardians that gets double damage, even further than that, 58 damage. So yeah, to be mindful that if you're using the Resonance Stone, that there's going to be some targets that are extremely powerful with it. That target's stunned, but they're going to roll an attack against it, which is fine. I could have probably applied the reverberation with the charm there. It would have been funny, but I'll be nice. Yeah, so basically you want to run around with that, kind of similar to your Spirit Guardians effects, and Once you're in a good melee position, the Mind Reaper is a solid attack here, because with this, you can get health back on your attack. So there's someone right up here. I'm going to go ahead here and attack with that. It'll give you a quarter of the health back as, yeah, so we took out them, and you can see there, we actually attacked humans there, just NPCs, and we got health back based off of them. And even sometimes if you attack some inanimate objects, you can get health back. And we have the Psychic Bombardment here, so this is really good if you have a bunch of enemies grouped up together. We have 4 of them in this circle here, so I may as well just go away and they tried to counterspell, but yeah, we got the nuke. It's a big explosion there, and then yeah, we have 1 sole survivor. Now, we got in a really rough situation here, so I'm going to use Psionic Assault. This is only a level 1 spell, but it's a close range attack that you can do 3 attacks with, and it looks really cool. Those animations are amazing. Now, I lost my concentration, so I can start using a new concentration here, because there's a few of them. Blade Barrage here. What's great about this spell is it not only looks cool, but you can continually keep casting it each turn. That was nice 46 damage. We're now holding that concentration, so we can keep casting that every single turn. I want to throw on Blade Song, because I completely forgot to throw it on earlier, which will give us a higher armor class and much more survivability. And one of the best parts about this is the Duelist Enthusiasm here. You get a bonus action attack, so you can do a spell and then a bonus action attack. Pretty useful. And I love concentration spells that let you recast it, because Blade Barrage, despite being a level 5 spell with less damage than other ones, the fact that you can recast this and double the damage makes it so much more powerful. And you can see there are 4 stacks of mental fatigue on these targets. That one is 6, and then it also gives reverberation, so pretty useful. Now the Psychic Arrow is really nice. I love the animation for this, so I'm just gonna, it has to be more than 6 meters away, so greatest thing about being invisible is they don't know where I'm at, and then I can go ahead here and actually attack with this arrow with advantage here. And again, it just looks so cool. So I'm just gonna line that up so you guys can see it a little bit better. And boom, that arrow is so nice. Love it. And we'll use Onslaught here next, so this is probably going to take him out. It looks amazing with those swords going through just like that. Yeah, actually amazing. So boom. And then we also have the Psychic Rush here, which we can use to rush forwards at a target. And you're going to hit any other targets that are in the way. So you see there, we just destroyed that target there accidentally. So yeah, that one's really fun for a cantrip. Getting that much movement and a 3d4 psychic damage is cool. It does use your bonus action. We also have this spell here, Sonic Protection, which we can use to protect an ally, and they get the cool purple shields around that are like flaming and looking amazing. The Mind Reaper here, I think I did show this one off already, but let's do it again here because I love the little scythe you get and the big swing with the flames. And then you heal yourself for the damage that you take. We also, again, the Onslaught there we saw with the swords going through, the Wall of Swords. So the Sonic Blade Field, which is like the Spirit Guardians one. You saw the Sonic Bombardment, you throw those big grenades, and then the Mind Guard Surge here, which is basically like the previous one. It's going to put the shields around everyone in the area while doing that cool VFX. So yeah, this is another amazing mod by Dawnstar. So go check out and download Dawnstar Psychic Weapon Spells, now available on mod.io. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you all in the next one.